What's going on, guys? Editing Alex here, but I know I mentioned at the end of last week's video that I was going to have an interview for you today, Dr. Bob, but that actually had to be postponed and pushed back. I don't have a date yet when that will happen, so to be determined. But until then, it's just going to be videos as usual. This is another topic, and I just wanted to let you guys know so that you weren't wondering. So, with that said, on to the video.
What a great day, y'all. What a great day. I hope you guys feel the same. But today, we're talking all things America. We're going to be very patriotic and talk about our country in this video. Coming out of Thanksgiving, I hope you guys were able to spend some quality time with family, friends, and loved ones. And Black Friday and Cyber Monday, hopefully you were able to find some good deals. But today, we got some great things to be thankful for, and we're going to be talking about it. So I hope you're ready to have this conversation because it's happening. So let's get it. Now, unless you've been living underneath a rock, I think most people, especially by now, considering the fact that it's December, it's crazy that it's already December, know the outcome of the election. And for those that don't, well, spoiler alert, Donald Trump won. So Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. And for those of you that are upset because you were hoping for Kamala to win, I'm going to talk to you guys in a second. But I want to speak to the people that voted for Trump. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for going out on election day and making your voices heard. Because myself included, I mean, I early voted, but we just showed up all across the country in droves. And this red wave that we were hoping for in 2022, it showed up as a tsunami on November 5th this year. I mean, we got the presidency, we retained control of the House, and we got the Senate. So the potential is there to do great things and to make America great again. And I really believe that Trump will do that. He is a human being, so he will still make mistakes, but one, he is by far the better option than Kamala. And just thank you, because it was a movement. We all came together and we basically, the American people spoke, and we rejected this ideology and this narrative that has been pushed these last 4 years by the mainstream media and the elite left, saying that Donald Trump is, all of this stuff, all of these bad things. And we just didn't believe it. We got our news from alternative sources, and we didn't just go along and believe the narrative. We actually did the research for ourselves, and we actually found what the truth is. We watched the interviews in context and all of this stuff, so we can really understand what's going on. And it was amazing to see, just absolutely amazing, because the mere fact that even though California and New York still were blue overall, if you really look at the breakdown of it, and I will show some pictures of both, it was only specific counties or cities that were blue. But overall, like, even California was mostly red. And the same with New York. And that just that gives me a lot of hope that this state, California, is not lost, that people are waking up and they're seeing the truth and learning and understanding what's going on. And I just hope it will continue to move that direction. I praise God, and I'm so thankful that Donald Trump won, because I personally believe that God is going to use Donald Trump to help bring this country back towards God, where we're actually going to bring God back at the center of this country and drive out all of this woke garbage that's been going on. Now, to the people that hoped that Kamala would win, I want to talk to you guys for a little bit and just say that I've talked to some of my friends that were hoping that Kamala won. Now, granted, none of them are as like crying and, just over the top, like very just distraught. Like I see some of these videos on social media about these people. This 4B movement that I believe started in like South Korea or something. All of those words started with like a B. That's where that like it came from. But these people that are like women, the liberal women that are like vowing off dating men, having sex with men, getting married to men, and having children. I mean, congratulations, you finally understand the concept of abstinence. So I don't really see that as a bad thing. And if you're going to shave your heads because some of these women are doing that, I mean, then I guess it's easier that we can kind of spot who is kind of believing that way, and we can kind of avoid them, to be honest. But for those of you that just wanted Kamala to win on the mere fact of abortion, I want to address this really quick. First of all, Trump already said that he is not going to institute a national abortion ban. He wanted it back to the states. And the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade while Trump was not even in office. So you can still have access to abortion. So relax. That that should not even really be an issue. Not to mention that those of you that are Christians or profess to be Christians and wanted Kamala to win when she was kind of advocating for abortion, essentially, that how can you be a Christian and condone that? The Bible is very, very clear. And I did a video on abortion, and I'll link that up in the corner if you would care to watch that. But point being is God values life. And if He, according to Scripture, formed you, knit you together in your mother's womb, that is saying that life is precious. And life really starts at conception. It's not just a bunch of cells. Don't believe the lie that the media keeps trying to push and tell you that it's just a clump of cells, because they're trying to make you disassociate yourself from reality and what's really going on. Now, Trump has said himself that he believes in the exceptions, rape, incest, and the life of the mother. Okay, so with those are, again, tricky, yes, about getting an abortion. I personally am pro-life, so I personally still like rape is horrible. But if you're in a situation like that, you don't want to keep the kid, you can give it up for adoption. There's a lot of families that would love to have kids that cannot have kids, and they sometimes go the route of, IVF and all this other stuff, but sometimes they'll go the route of wanting to adopt. And you can give your kid up for adoption. There's other steps that you can take without aborting your child and killing a human life, because essentially that's what it is. And again, in the video that I did on abortion, you can kind of hear from the testimony of the guy when he was describing what basically an abortion is. You're killing a human life. And that might rub you the wrong way. That might really make you uncomfortable and uneasy to hear. But we need to hear that. You guys need to hear that, because that's what's going on. It's not just a clump of cells. It's not these, you know, parasites or any of the stuff that other people want to say. No, this whole notion of my body, my choice, your choice, okay, not talking about the exceptions, not talking about rape, incest, or life of the mother, but talking about people who just decide to have sex and they're not prepared to have a kid and they get pregnant. Okay, they say, my body, my choice. I should be able to decide what I want to do with my body. Well, I just want to say that your choice ended when you opened your legs. I'm sorry that I have to say it that way, but once you decide to have sex, you are now also accepting whatever might come from it. The emotions, the baggage, if the relationship doesn't work out, you know, if the woman gets pregnant, all of that stuff, you accept all of that. That's, think about a contract and the fine print. You're not reading the fine print. That's part of the fine print. This is potentially one of the things that could happen from having sex. And just your choice is to not have sex, to abstain from having sex. This is why God instituted or created sex within the confines of marriage. Because when we take it outside of marriage, it gets messy. And for those of us that are calling ourselves Christians that believe in abortion, I think you need to ask yourself if that's really what God is saying. Read through the scriptures again, study and pray, really ask God to reveal it to you, the truth. Don't just rest on that and believe what other experts are saying. Don't live in an echo chamber of the doctors that are like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. It is just a clump of cells. No. Take in information from both sides, even the side that you don't agree with. Listen to what they say. Listen to the facts that they bring up. Listen to the research that has been done. And make an informed decision. The media is lying to you. The mainstream media is lying to you. You can see that from the outcome of the election. They're thinking that, oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. And it wasn't close. It was a landslide. So that has to lead you to at least ask some questions. What have we been believing? If Trump was really Hitler and a fascist and a racist and all of this stuff that the mainstream media kept saying about him, how is it that majority of the country voted for this person? Does it mean that most of the country wants somebody that's Hitler to lead the country? Somebody that wants a racist to lead the country? Somebody that wants a fascist to lead the country? Or is it possible that the media has been lying to you and that what they're saying about Trump is actually false? Ask yourself these questions and start researching for yourself. Don't just regurgitate talking points that the media says and take that as fact and run with it. And then you will see the outcome of elections, especially from this past one, you see the trend now going. People are trying to go back to common sense, trying to put a strong leader in in charge of this country. Think of it as a daycare, and the adults are supposed to be in charge and kind of, keep things, within parameters. Let the kids have fun, but there's got to be some rules and boundaries. And think about a different daycare where the adults are not in charge and the kids just run everything. And it's just crazy. They just do whatever. Everything's a mess. Everything is horrible. This is what these last 4 years have been under the Biden Harris administration. It's been like kids being in charge of a daycare, just running wild with everything. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, do that, do that, do that. Instead of saying, no, you can't do this. You can't do this either. And you can't do that. But you can do this. You can also do this. And you can do this. And if you do the stuff that you're not supposed to do, there's going to be consequences. There has to be structure. There has to be rules, boundaries, limitations in everything, in your own life, training animals in our country. We have to have some sort of rule of law, and it has to be enforced. Now you have some of these cities in America that are very liberal, that you can steal, what is it, like up to $900 or less of stuff without being arrested? What is this? We're now condoning crime? This is what we saw on November 5th, is a rejection of this woke, corrupt, polluted leadership, if you want to call it leadership, lack of leadership, actually. And we rejected all that. Most of the American people rejected all that. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Alex, well, what about January 6th and the insurrection that happened, the whole thing? Well, first of all, I want to say Donald Trump said to peacefully and patriotically protest. We, as Americans, have a right to protest. That's the beauty of living in a free country. But let me ask you, what about the BLM riots? Why was that okay? Because you were trying to social justice. That, again, there is a great documentary about the fall of was it Minneapolis, I believe it's what it's called. I will link that documentary up in the corner as well. I highly encourage you to go watch that. Watch that and see what they've uncovered. And it's just listen to that. The media has been lying to you. You've got to go to independent sources. And you saw that with most of the country. They've done that. They've now gone to independent sources, and that's why we have the result that we have, is because we are not subject to this woke ideology anymore. We're not just being indoctrinated. We actually are learning and researching for ourselves. I highly encourage you to do the same and to really search within yourself and think about this kind of stuff. So, but again, it's a great day. It's a great day. I'm so thankful because God answered my prayer, answered a lot of our prayers. The day after, when I woke up and I saw the results, I let out a huge sigh of relief. I cannot tell you how relieved and happy I was that Trump won. Trump is somebody that God is using, and he's using in a mighty way. I believe that ever since he was saved from the first assassination attempt in July at Butler, Pennsylvania, there is a greater purpose that God is using for Trump. And like it or not, if we're trying to fight against God, we're going to lose every single time. So if God is using Trump, then I think we need to ask ourselves, those of us that call ourselves Christians that wanted Kamala to win, if God is using Trump, then perhaps maybe you were lied to. If God is on Trump's side, or using Trump, I should say, then perhaps maybe you need to reevaluate what side you're on. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope most of you agreed with most of the stuff I said in this video. If not, that is the beauty of this country, is we can agree and we can disagree, and then we can also agree to disagree. So thank you so much for tuning in, and just know that next year, which is coming up quick, I'm gonna probably put a new intro video starting the beginning of January, the first Tuesday in January. And my goal is also to try to get some sort of space that I can kind of record in. I don't know how well that's going to work and what that's going to look like sometime next year, but that is a goal of mine. So thank you guys again, and please like and subscribe and follow me on the socials. And until then, until next week, you guys stay safe, and as always, be blessed.